Hi everyone, this is Thomas King, and today I'd like to introduce you to my lecture on the skewer. And so a skewer, it's sort of like a pin, but it's in reverse. So what do I mean by that? Well, it's actually pretty simple. In a pin, we attack a piece, but behind that piece, being indirectly attacked, is a piece of higher value. Now, as a result, that piece is unable to move, or else the player with that piece will lose significant material. So, what's a skewer? Well, a skewer is when you attack a piece and it has to move. Not it can't move, it has to move. But once it does move, it exposes an attack to a lesser valued piece. So instead of attacking the strong piece, instead of attacking the weak piece rather, and indirectly attacking the strong piece, we attack the strong piece and indirectly attack the weak piece. And here's an example of a skewer. The rook on e1 attacks the most valuable piece on the board, the king. But if the king moves, which it has to, but if the king moves, then an attack on the queen will be exposed. So in this position, black has nothing better than king d6. After rook takes e8, white's winning. Okay. So, here. Evaluate this position. It's white to move. And pay careful attention to the concept of a skewer. Well, rudimentary understanding might teach us that black can queen in 4 moves, and that white can also queen in 4 moves. Logic therefore dictates that white can queen in 5 moves, but it is white to move, so it doesn't really matter that black's technically a tempo up. So logic dictates that this position would be drawn, but that's not the case. Why? Well, let's find out. Okay, so h4. White has a simple plan. Okay, now here black queens. Now, do you see why white is winning here? Pay careful attention to the notion of a skewer. Did you find it? Well, if you did, what you should have noticed is that we have this king here, the most important piece on the board, placed on d4. This is on the same diagonal as the a1 queen. And both of these pieces, the a1 queen and the d4 king, are on the a1 to h8 diagonal. So if we can place a bishop or a queen on this diagonal, then white would be attacking the king. And after the helpless king moved out of the way, the queen would be taken. Is there a way we can exploit this? You bet there is. White plays h8 equals queen. Check. And after king c5, queen takes a1. This is in fact probably the most famous example of a skewer, because a similar position occurred in the final round game of the US primary in the classic film Searching for Bobby Fischer. Okay, so on to the next game. Okay. Black to move. How do you play? Well, what you should have noticed is bishop b5 here. Attacking the queen, and behind the queen is the rook. So, after a move like queen to e1, black takes the rook, and if the queen takes back, black has won a rook worth 5 points for a bishop worth only 3. So black is better in this position, maybe even winning. However, white has another try. What? Notice how this queen on d5 and this rook on b7 are also on the same diagonal, h1 to a8. And you may have already guessed this, since I've just shown you. White can play bishop f3, exploiting this. And if the queen moves, so on d7, then we see takes. Pardon me. If the queen moves, then we see queen e1, takes, takes. White's bishop is hanging, yes. But black's bishop is hanging too. This position is completely equal. So, it seems that white can draw this. Not quite. What if black instead played bishop takes e2? He's attacking the queen. Now, if white doesn't want to go down a queen, which any sane white player won't, he'll play bishop takes d5. And here, it looks like e takes d5 would be forced, because the rook on b7 is hanging, and the bishop on e2 is hanging. And black can also play bishop takes f1, which leads to an equal position. So either that or e takes d5 would be the instinctive reactions. But black has a better move. Rook b2. Now we're defending the bishop. We're still attacking the rook. We're still attacking the bishop. After bishop f3 is the best try. And now after bishop takes f1 check, king takes f1, we have a very good ending for black. One that's objectively winning. Okay, now on to the final example. Black to play here. Can you draw this? Now, it's important to know that you should be playing for a draw here. Because if we just use the point system, white has 3, 12, 13 points, 17 if you count the king, and black has 5, 10 points, 14 if you count the king. So, white is clearly the one playing for a win here. And this is especially the case since white has a potential queen on b8. So, is there any way that black can use a skewer to ensure a draw? Well, there is, because after rook h3 check, and then either, anyway the king moves, we lead to the same position after, say for example, king d2, rook takes, king takes. Here we have a position that's drawn. Rook versus bishop, even without the pawn, is drawn. And here it's very much still a trivial draw. Black's just going to trade the rook for the pawn, and king and bishop is not sufficient mating material, so that'd just be a complete draw, a claimable draw, in fact. Technically, one could argue that black has the better winning chances here. For example, if white scooches king over to h1 or a8, he'll find himself in a difficult to draw position because that's the wrong corner. And this is just endgame knowledge that a lot of people don't have. I'll explain some more endgame technique in a later video. But wait, now we saw this position is drawn from the black if it's black to move. What if it's white to move? How do you play it? Well, a lot of people will suggest the move bishop to e8. It's not a good move though, because sure, you have what I like to call a pure of the two rooks. That is, both pieces are being attacked and they're both of equal value. It's half a pin, half a skewer, hence the term pure. But black has what's known as the in-between move, rook h3 check, and after king d4, rook takes, king takes, we have a pretty drawn position. Okay, so I'd like to apologize for the pawn being on c2 and not b2 in this example. So anyway, what's a better move? Well, if you hand it into an engine, they might recommend the move queen d8 check, where just following the line of toga 2, rook f6, bishop d7, rook h2, c4. Yeah, this is just a joke, really. Because we have a much simpler tactical win, involving a skewer. Can you find it? I'll give you a hint. Queen takes g6, the first move. King takes. Can you see it now? If you found bishop e8 check, you're correct. King g5 takes, king takes. And this pawn cannot be stopped from queening. So, yeah. So, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I now look forward to continuing with the basics course. Next, I will explain the concept of the step-ladder checkmate. We'll be learning some basic endgame technique. But anyway, until then, see you next time. This has been Thomas King, signing off.